put into perspective, on average, there are around 500,000 properties sold in Australia every year. There are about like 100,000 real estate sales agents in the country. However, there are very limited buyers agents, about 3,000. The definition of a buyer's agent is an ideal buyer's agent would be independent, exclusive, and unbiased. They should work for buyer only. And this is how you differentiate. And buyer's agent has the license for the whole state, meaning they should be able to find you a property anywhere within the state, where they have license from. Whereas if you go to a real estate agent, they are generally defined to a specific like geographical location, a boundary or a suburb. And obviously the biggest difference is real estate agent is essentially selling and they are working for the seller. Buyer's agent is essentially working for the buyer and is only buying. So this is how you differentiate a buyer's agent and a selling agent. Is anyone having any questions for me up until now? All good, all clear? Yeah. Just raise a hand and ask me a question. Now the first biggest benefit of having a buyer's agent are the cost benefits. Because of the experience they have, the qualification and skills they have, hiring or contracting a buyer's agent would help a home buyer with potential tax and stamp duty savings. An easy example is, if you buy a $350,000 property, can I have a quick raise of hands? Like most of us, are either renting or on our home. So can I have a mix of like who is currently living in a rental property, and who is living in their own property, like with a loan or that's a mix, could mix it. So as an example, if you have $350,000 to invest or to buy a property, in Victoria you would be paying around $17,500 as stamp duty. Same investment in Queensland, you would be paying around $11,500. So with little bit of thinking, you straight away save $6,000 in stamp duty, which is, I say, a sunk cost. You have to pay it, you never get it back. So buyer's agents know this. They are not emotionally attached to the transaction. That is another advantage I should highlight, particularly in property investment, because buyers are generally emotional and they tend to buy in a suburb where they are living because they know that area. And according to me, that is the biggest mistake. And because investment can't be done on emotions. I like this area, no. But there are $1 million houses over there. What with like 20,000 rent, what are you going to do? Pay out from your pocket. So this is very important. Tax benefits. If you have an investment property and if it is new, you get potential depreciation benefits. You claim depreciation as an expense, which is a paper loss, and it helps you get a tax refund from the ATO. Your accountant can help you with this. A personalized strategy. When you go to a buyer's agent, they help you. The home buyer gives a brief or a wish list. Like, this is what I need. The property, if it is owner-occupier property or an investment, so they give us a brief like it has to have 1,000 square meter land, 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 2 car garage, 2 living areas. So we get a briefing and then we start working on the property. However, at times we act as an advisor as well. Yes, there are 2 kinds of buyer's agents: order taker, advisor. So we have to, act in buyers' sort of favor and educate them as well. like for example, you're living in this suburb, say for example, Tura. It's, you like this area, but you can't afford to buy. So what you can do, you continue to rent in this suburb, but buy somewhere else as an investment. And get again tax benefits, and that is how you create wealth as well. So that is how you save money. And equity and wealth creation is a known factor. Like last 140 years of Australian residential real estate recorded history, I can confirm it has achieved 11% cumulative growth last 140 years. So Melbourne being the most livable city, we know about how immigration and natural sort of birth is leading to population growth, and then there is this always this in the news media like about demand and supply, how there is like not many houses to live, and now most of us would have read about the rental crisis. So there is always this demand supply gap, and which results in property prices going up and wealth creation. Buyers agents depends which one you go to, but they have expertise and knowledge about different kinds of dwellings. Primarily there are two kinds of dwellings: established, which are ready to move in, and off the plan, meaning you see the floor plan or the artist's impression on a piece of paper, and then you say, yep, I like it, you sign a contract. Off the plan properties takes months and years before you move in. Established, you get the keys, 30, 60, 90 days settlement, and you sign the contract, say for example day 0 you sign the contract, you pay 10%, 30 days your bank pays 90%, you get the keys, you move in. Then property investment is another third kind of property sort of buyers. To put this into perspective, around 65% of properties in Australia are like owner occupied. Around 30-35% are rental properties, which are obviously owned by the landlords, or they are now called rental providers. Buyers agents have access to the listings, obviously online listings. They can see on realestate.com.au, the number one website, domain.com.au. However, they have agent contacts. Buyers agent know real estate agents in the industry, and there are many properties which are not even on the market. They are off the market, meaning, say for example, agent knows a homeowner and is a good friend, and just verbally he said, if you get a buyer, let me know, I want to sell my property. So by having that contact, buyer agent can access those off the market properties, and they can potentially save some money for the home buyer, because homeowner or the home seller, which is called vendor, is not spending money on the marketing, which could be $1,000 to $10,000. So it could be beneficial for home buyer to buy those off the market properties. Buyers agents are skilled at negotiation because they know the market. They follow the trends, they do the research, they attend the industry events, thought leaders. So they know the true value of the property. They know the median price. They know how to interpret and put it into perspective into say 3 comparable properties, which are used by real estate agents, even and by the valuers as well. So, and the biggest benefit is they are not emotional, and therefore they can appropriately negotiate the true value of the property and get and close the deal for the home buyer. I love this. What happens when a home buyer comes? They come with like a dream house, like a wish list. They want, something near the beach and whatnot. So, Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. Then we have to jump in and like give them sort of an objective advice, like, okay, start small. If you have a 1 million budget, you can buy 2 properties, even 3 properties. Start small. Buy a good house, new house, and again there is that concept of risk mitigation and financial planning as well. Like we as a buyer's agent, we work in a team. Maybe the next slide will show you that, but their home buyers should consult professionals, accountants, financial advisors, financial planners. They cost us money, but they are beneficial. They help us properly plan our finances and our life. So yeah, I mean, yes, you can buy this, but it costs you a lot. Start small. You buy one, you create equity. Then you use equity, buy a second one. Then you use equity of 2 properties, buy a third one. So it's very easy. I have been doing this for 10 years, and just that the only point is one needs to know identify the correct location and type of the property. That is very important. Buyer's agents can help with the paperwork. They know how to interpret the data, because the biggest problem or issue is not knowing the language used by the during the transaction process. For example, what is the contract of sale? What is a vendor statement? What is Section 32? How to interpret the floor plans, the building contract, the loan applications, building interest report. What is a major issue? What is a minor issue in a building report? There's so many things that the buyer gets overwhelmed and don't know what is right, what is wrong. And that is why buyer's agent can help with the paperwork and interpretation of the difficult to understand information. This is a very important slide. As I was saying, a home buyer needs key professionals to complete the transaction process. I feel these are the top sort of most important people they need to have. Mortgage broker and bank, and in a way this is how a typical transaction process is. First of all, a home buyer should go to a mortgage broker or a bank lender, because to know how much they can borrow. This is step 1. After they know how much they can borrow, then they should go to a buyer's agent. And then real estate agent comes in, because they have access to the listings, they are selling and they are buying. And if it's a property with a dwelling, then they should consult a building and pest inspector. Because what happens is, at times, the real estate agents use trick photography, photoshopping and all those things, virtual staging of the property. So what you actually see is not the true representation of the property. So whereas a building and pest inspector, when they go to the property, they have got equipments to check the moisture content of the property, the uneven floors of the property. They got all sort of equipments. They can got ladder. They can go up on the roof and see if the condition of the roof. So that is how they do a very thorough investigation of the property and give you a 20 to 40 or page report on the true condition of the property. So that is why it is strongly recommended to have a building and pest inspector. And conveyancer is very important, because they review the contracts. They tell you how much, if there are any conditions, general conditions, special conditions that a home buyer should know. What are the fines, penalties, sunset clause. There are too many things which are legal and difficult for a home buyer to understand. So these are essential. Each home buyer should consult. As I said, they know the market. They know what are the typical properties selling in that suburb for the property type they are looking for a home buyer to buy. They know the current listings that are available on the market and off the market. What are the market trends? Is it like a buyer's market or a seller's market? This is very important, when you are buying and when selling. It is very important for conceptually home buyers to understand that there are two ways to create wealth. The first one is to buy and hold. This is what traditionally, property gurus have advised: buy and hold. One property cycle is, say, 10 years. In Australia, it's considered around 7 to 10 years is one property cycle, and that is when a typical property dwelling price will double if you hold it for that full property cycle. And however, there will be time when there will be factors like, say, inflation or rate of interest or some other, like, say, for example, there was coronavirus pandemic. So there will be certain factors that would lead to price correction of the property prices. So that is where one needs to keep an eye on, like, when to buy, as in like when to sell. You can buy. I feel there is no right time to buy a property. So never time it's always the time in the market, not timing the market. This is a very popular phrase used in real estate. It's always the time in the market, not timing the market. There are many home buyers who just sit on the fence like, property market will crash. And there is that speculative nature of this industry. The news, the media, the property is going to crash 30%, 40%, and people are like, okay, I will not buy. And it has never happened in the last 140 years. The maximum the maximum stretch of degrowth has been around 21 months, and after that it has gone up. And even in terms of the downfall, I have to think, but 20-21%, but it has gone up. So that is why the longer you hold, it gives you you get your investment back. Yeah, protection. Home, I love this. Buyers agents like the Great Wall of China, because they are like the middleman between the real estate agent and the buyer. Because when there is home buyer dealing directly with the real estate agent, it's very difficult to negotiate, or for some reason real estate agents feel they have the power to control the situation and control the buyer. So for whatever reason, buyer just is unable to negotiate, or is always pressurized by the real estate agent. Sign the contract and just give me the money. Yes, ethics and professional code of conduct does exist, but it's not always used by all the professionals. So buyers agents are protected by pressure sales tactics. It's so common, like just sign, don't worry, and sweet talk and whatnot. So it's very common in the industry. Potential legal issues. What if home buyer signs a contract and is unable to settle, doesn't get a loan? Because when you're signing contract, it is important to know like what conditions you write. For example, subject to finance is the most popular. Then subject to building and pest inspection is another very commonly used condition. So it's important to put a conditional offer. Agents hate this. They want like unconditional offer for a quick sale. There's a 3 days cooling off period in the sort of Victorian real estate industry. So they just want like quick sale, 3 days, yeah, unconditional, they get the commission. But it's not like that. It has to be that in buyer's favor with conditions that are a good fit for the buyer. Hidden defects in the property, as I discussed, building and pest inspections are needed. And even if without that, buyers, when they go inside the property, they like, a different set of eyes. What they can see, home buyer can't see. Disputes with the seller, fraudulent activities. Overpaying is the most common. because home buyer is emotional. I like the property. Okay, but you need to have like a minimum and maximum. You start from minimum and stop at maximum. It's very important. And peace of mind. When you have someone professionally representing you, the home buyer gets a peace of mind. And there is less anxiety, stress, worry, uncertainty. Like according to research, these are the top reasons. The most stressful experience, in anyone's life is buying a house. It takes 6 months and years and years of planning, research, and due diligence. So it's the most stressful event in anyone's life. We guide through the process. We answer questions. We make sure the home buyer is making informed decisions. I love this. We give them ideas. How to buy, when to buy, where to buy. So now we will move to the next phase. How to find a buyer's agent. There are 2 ways. Word of mouth. If your family member has used the buyer's agent, you can ask them, have you used anyone? Can you recommend, refer? And they will share. Other ways, search the REIB online directory. Real Estate Institute of Victoria. You go there, take the buyer's agent, you tick that box, put your suburb, and that's it. You get the list of buyer's agents who are licensed and a member of REIB. Why this is important? Because they have to abide by the ethics and professional code of conduct. As I said, you can get a buyer's agent before you even start inspecting properties or do anything about the idea. However, you can get buyer's agent during the process. For example, you went to inspect a property, you liked it, and now you don't know what to do. And what is the process? It's okay. You can then contact a buyer's agent and he will guide you with the whole process. They can help you with even interstate purchases, online, offline. If they are based locally, you can go and meet them in person. However, for example, if Queensland is very much in the media because of the 2032 Olympics and the kind of investment being made by the government over there. So there are still a lot of property investment opportunities for home buyers in Queensland. So you can buy properties offline. You really don't have to meet them in face, because these days use of technology, digital contract signing, and whatnot. So it's easy. You really don't have to leave your house. You can buy properties literally over the phone, because your broker will do the loan, your conveyancer will check them. You can emails, telephone, online video calls. So you really don't have to meet them in person. You can still buy properties. And so in Victoria we have Business Licensing Authority. That is the authority that gives the estate agent license to an individual. So a buyer's agent need to have a estate agent license, having accreditations of other institutes and authorities is also beneficial, like in this case, Property Investors Council of Australia, membership of REIB, or there are many other sort of accredited bodies, there is another one, Property Investor Professionals of Australia, PIPA. There are many of them. So when you are looking for a buyer's agent, there are a few things you need to be careful. First of all, number of years that person has been working as a buyer's agent. The longer the experience, the more you can trust that person. Have they bought a property themselves? This is the biggest advantage. Big yes, because you don't want to be taking advice from someone who has never bought a property themselves. How many recent purchases they have made for home buyers is very important. Qualifications. In real estate, all someone needs is a certificate for qualification. However, if you feel they are like more qualified, maybe could be a diploma or a bachelor's or a master's degree, you just feel more sort of comfortable, like it's very qualified. Knowledge of the local area, has the home buyer advised someone in that particular suburb, or and where do they live? Are they, do they know the area? And contacts, obviously, as I said, do they know mortgage brokers, conveyancers, building and pest inspectors, and all the people, financial planners, accountants. Do they know people? They can refer people, because it's not advisable for a home buyer to just go and buy property themselves. They need professional advice. Yep. Again, there are different kinds of dwellings. A typical house, apartment, townhouse. Now there is this concept of NDIS, SDA homes, basically National Disability Insurance Scheme. Obviously, it's backed by the government. So there's a big shortage of these kind of properties because hospitals, are being sort of government wants these people to move out and make space for other sort of urgent medical needs patient, and therefore they have invested in this NDIS SDA homes. So people can invest in these properties. They have good rental yield, like 10 to up to 12% yield, up to 100,000 income, rental income. If they invest in these kind of properties, they give stable rent for 20 years. The lease is for 20 years, so it's like a sort of peace of mind. They don't have to, as compared to a traditional real estate, they have to renew the lease every year. So that is why these are good option. In defense housing, leases are for 6 years. Army personnel live there, stable rent for 6 years, no need to worry, and DHA maintains the property. So some of the other options for investors. And yeah, first home buyers, they can target any one of these, or even more. But typically, first home buyer, owner occupier, someone downsizing, upsizing, lifestyle properties. Someone wants to live near the beach, Port Arlington or anywhere close to the beach. Investor, rent investor, as I was saying, someone who doesn't want to buy an owner occupier property, they can still buy. So the concept of rent vesting, they continue to rent, but buy an investment property somewhere else. And acreage for land banking purposes or any other reason, subdivision.